There's a moment when someone is scrolling through their phone on a Sunday evening and suddenly feels a wave of sadness they can't explain. Nothing specific happened. The day was fine. But sitting there on the couch, they feel small, alone, like something is missing but they can't name what it is. Their chest feels tight. Their throat feels thick. And underneath all of that is a quiet voice they've been ignoring for years. A voice that says, "I'm still here. I still need you." It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's just a feeling, a pull, a sense that some part of them has been waiting, quietly, patiently, for attention. On the outside, they look like a functioning adult. Bills paid, job handled, relationships maintained. On the inside, there's a younger version of themselves that never got what they needed. That part didn't disappear. It just learned to stay quiet. And now in these small, unexpected moments, it tries to speak. Not with words, with feelings, with reactions that seem too big for the situation, with a loneliness that doesn't match the facts of their life. That's the inner child, not a metaphor, not a concept, a real living part of you that holds memories, needs, and emotions that never got fully seen or heard. This pattern shows up everywhere, but most people don't recognize it. In relationships, someone might feel a surge of panic when their partner doesn't text back quickly. Logically, they know their partner is just busy, but emotionally it feels like abandonment, like being left alone as a kid, waiting for a parent who was always distracted or unavailable. At work, someone might freeze when a boss gives critical feedback. The words are reasonable, the tone is fine, but inside they feel shame so deep it's hard to breathe. It's the same shame they felt as a child when a parent said, "Why can't you do anything right?" In family gatherings, someone might feel invisible, even when people are talking to them. They smile, nod, participate, but inside they feel like the kid at the table whose opinions didn't matter, whose feelings were dismissed as too sensitive or dramatic. Alone late at night, someone scrolls endlessly or drinks or works, because sitting still brings up feelings they don't know how to handle. Feelings that belong to a younger part of them that was scared, hurt, or lonely and never got comfort. On the outside, it looks like restlessness or bad habits. On the inside, it's a child part of them saying, "Please don't leave me alone with this." Most of this starts early. A girl grows up in a house where emotions are not welcome. When she cries, her parents say, "Stop being dramatic," or "You're fine, it's not a big deal." So she learns that her feelings are wrong, that showing sadness or fear or anger will push people away. She starts to hide those parts of herself. She becomes good at smiling when she's sad, at saying "I'm fine" when she's not. But the feelings don't disappear. They just go underground. The part of her that's sad, scared, or angry doesn't grow up with her. It stays frozen at the age when it was first rejected. As an adult, she might find herself crying over small things, spilled coffee, a forgotten birthday, and think, "Why am I so sensitive?" She's not overreacting. She's feeling all the sadness that little girl wasn't allowed to feel. A boy grows up with a father who's emotionally distant. The boy learns that asking for attention or affection is weak, that needing comfort is shameful. So he stops asking. He becomes self-reliant, independent, tough. But inside, there's still a part of him that wants someone to notice when he's hurting, to ask if he's okay, to care without him having to perform or earn it. As an adult, he might push away partners who try to get close because vulnerability feels dangerous, or he might work himself to exhaustion because achievement is the only way he knows how to feel worthy. He doesn't realize he's still trying to earn the love that little boy needed for free. This connects to what psychologists call inner child work. The idea that unmet childhood needs don't just disappear, they stay active in your emotional life. When a child's feelings are consistently ignored, shamed, or dismissed, that child learns to disconnect from those feelings to survive. But disconnection doesn't heal the need, it just buries it. So the adult version of that child walks around with unprocessed grief, fear, anger, or longing that gets triggered in everyday situations. A critical comment at work isn't just feedback, it's a re-experience of childhood shame. A partner's distance isn't just a bad day, it's a re-experience of abandonment. The inner child isn't being dramatic. It's responding to what it learned, that it's not safe to need, not okay to feel, not acceptable to ask for care. The cost of ignoring this shows up in every area of life. At work, someone overworks to the point of burnout because a part of them is still trying to prove they're good enough to a parent who was never satisfied. They stay late, take on extra projects, say yes to everything, and feel resentful but can't stop. When a colleague gets recognition, they feel a sharp pang of jealousy that feels childish and shameful. They think, why am I like this? They don't realize it's a young part of them that never got praised, that learned early on that love is conditional on performance. In romantic relationships, someone becomes anxious and controlling when their partner wants space. They check phones, ask for constant reassurance, or pick fights to test if the person will stay. They know it's pushing the partner away, but they can't stop. It's not about the adult relationship. It's about a child part of them that learned that people leave, that love is unreliable, that closeness always ends in abandonment. In family dynamics, someone might feel an old familiar anger every time they visit home, even though nothing overtly bad is happening. They snap at parents over small things, then feel guilty. They don't realize they're angry on behalf of the child they used to be, the one whose needs weren't seen, whose feelings weren't validated, whose voice wasn't heard. In friendships, someone might struggle to ask for help or show vulnerability. They're always the helper, the listener, the strong one. But when they need support, they disappear. They think, I don't want to be a burden. That belief didn't come from nowhere. It came from a childhood where their needs felt like too much, where asking for care led to rejection or exhaustion in the caregiver. Now, as an adult, they carry that alone, and the loneliness is crushing. Inside, the self-talk is harsh. You're too much. You're not enough. Why can't you just get over it? Everyone else handles life better than you. These aren't just thoughts. They're the voice of a parent, a teacher, a sibling, internalized and repeated so many times that they sound like truth. Underneath that harsh voice is a child part that's scared, exhausted, and desperate to be seen. The why do I keep doing this moment comes often. Why do I sabotage good relationships? Why do I freeze in conflict? Why do I feel so empty even when my life looks fine? The answer is often the same, because a part of you is still living in an old story, and no one has told that part that the story can change. But here's the shift. Feeling this way isn't proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're human, that you had needs as a child that didn't get met, and that those needs are still trying to get your attention. The inner child isn't something to fix or get rid of. It's something to listen to. When you feel a wave of sadness for no clear reason, that's information. It's your inner child saying, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm lonely, or I needed someone to care, and no one did. When you feel disproportionate anger at a small slight, that's information. It's a younger part of you saying, this reminds me of when I wasn't respected, when my boundaries didn't matter. When you feel numb and disconnected, that's information too. It's your system saying, I've been carrying too much for too long, and I need rest and compassion. The work isn't to eliminate these feelings. It's to start a conversation with them, to stop treating your emotions like problems and start treating them like messages from a part of you that's been waiting to be heard. Integration means making room for the child part and the adult part to coexist, not ignoring the child, not letting the child run your life, but bringing awareness, curiosity, and care to the parts of you that still hurt. So how do you actually do this? Here are practical steps. Notice when you're triggered emotionally. Triggers are doorways to your inner child. When you have a reaction that feels too big for the situation, that's often a clue that something old is being activated. The practice is simple. Notice when you feel disproportionately sad, angry, scared, or ashamed. Instead of judging yourself, pause and ask, how old do I feel right now? Often you'll sense a younger age, 7, 10, 13. That's the age of the part that's activated. For example, someone gets feedback at work and suddenly feels like they want to cry and hide. They ask themselves, how old do I feel? And the answer is 9. At 9, they were told by a teacher in front of the class that they were slow, and the whole room laughed. The work feedback isn't the real issue. It's touching that old wound. Noticing this doesn't fix it instantly, but it creates space between the trigger and your response. You start to see, oh, this isn't about my boss. This is about a scared 9-year-old who never got told they were okay. The hard part is staying with the feeling instead of distracting. To move through it, tell yourself, I'm just noticing. I don't have to solve this right now. Write a letter from your inner child. This practice gives your inner child a voice. Set aside 15 minutes. Sit somewhere quiet with a journal. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as a child, whatever age comes to mind. See where that child is, what they're wearing, how they look. Then with your non-dominant hand, this bypasses your adult logical brain, write a letter from that child to your adult self. Let the child say whatever it needs to say. It might be angry. You never listened to me. You're always busy. It might be sad. I'm so lonely. I just want someone to care. It might be scared. I don't know what to do. Everything feels big. Don't edit. Don't make it pretty. Just let the child speak. A woman does this and her inner child writes, "You're always taking care of everyone else and you ignore me. I'm tired. I need you to stop and just be with me." She realizes she's been repeating her mother's pattern, prioritizing everyone's needs over her own. The difficulty here is the emotional intensity. Sometimes what comes up is painful. To move through, remind yourself, this child part has been holding this alone. Writing it out is an act of care, not weakness. Respond as the loving adult you needed. After the inner child speaks, respond. With your dominant hand, write back as the adult you are now, not as the parent you actually had, as the parent you needed. Say things like, "I hear you. I'm sorry I've been ignoring you. You're not too much. Your feelings make sense. I'm here now." This might feel awkward or fake at first. That's normal. You're building a new internal relationship. A man writes back to his inner child, "I see how scared you are. You're not weak for feeling this. I'm going to start paying attention to you. You're safe with me." Over time, this practice softens the harsh inner voice and creates an internal sense of being held. The difficulty is that you might not believe the words at first. To move through it, remember you're not trying to convince yourself overnight. You're planting seeds of a different story. Set one boundary. This week, that your inner child needed. Your inner child often shows you where your boundaries were crossed as a kid. The practice is to pick one small situation this week where you feel resentment, discomfort, or exhaustion, and set a boundary you would have needed as a child. Maybe that means saying no to a family obligation. Maybe it means telling a friend you're not available to process their crisis tonight. Maybe it means leaving a conversation that feels disrespectful. Start small. You're not trying to overhaul your life. You're showing your inner child, "I will protect you now in ways no one did then." A woman realizes she always says yes when her mother asks her to run errands, even when she's exhausted. This week she says, "I can't today, but I can help on Saturday." Her mother is annoyed, but the woman feels something shift inside, a relief, a sense of, "I matter too." The difficulty is guilt. To move through it, remind yourself, boundaries aren't rejection. They're self-respect. Your inner child is learning that their needs count. Spend 10 minutes doing what your inner child loved. Inner child work isn't just about pain. It's also about reclaiming joy, play, and spontaneity that got buried. Once a week, spend 10 minutes doing something your child self loved. Draw, dance, sing badly, play with a pet, build something, watch cartoons, lie on the grass and look at clouds. No productivity, no purpose, just play. A man who loved building Lego as a kid buys a small set and spends 20 minutes building. He feels silly at first, but by the end, he's smiling. That part of him that loved creating, that felt free and curious, it's still there. It just needed permission. The difficulty is the inner critic saying, "This is stupid. You're an adult." To move through it, recognize that voice as the one that learned play wasn't allowed. You're giving your inner child a different message now. Ask your inner child what they need. This is a short daily check-in. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart. Ask silently, what do you need right now? Then listen, not with your logical mind, with your body, your feelings. You might hear, I need rest. I need to cry. I need to be held. I need you to stop pushing so hard. I need to feel safe. Whatever comes, honor it in some small way. If the answer is rest, take 5 minutes to lie down. If it's tears, let them come. If it's safety, wrap yourself in a blanket. A woman asks this question and hears, I need you to stop being mad at me. She realizes she's been angry at herself for being anxious. She places both hands on her chest and says out loud, I'm not mad at you. You're doing your best. That simple act shifts something. The difficulty is trusting what you hear. To move through it, treat this as an experiment. You don't have to believe it perfectly. Just try responding and see what happens. Imagine holding your younger self. This is visualization work. Sit quietly, close your eyes. Imagine yourself as the age that keeps coming up in this work. See that child sitting alone, scared, sad, or angry. Now imagine your adult self walking over and sitting beside them. Don't rush, just be there. Then if it feels right, imagine holding that child, letting them cry if they need to, telling them, you're not alone anymore. I'm here, I won't leave you. A man imagines his 7-year-old self sitting on a curb after school, waiting for a parent who's always late. He sits beside him and says, I know you feel forgotten, but I see you, and I'm not going to forget you anymore. Tears come, but they're healing tears. The difficulty is that this can feel overwhelming or silly. To move through it, remember, your nervous system doesn't distinguish imagination from reality in these moments. If it feels comforting, it's working. Over time, life doesn't become perfect, but it becomes more honest. You start to notice when you're acting from a triggered place versus a grounded place. You catch yourself before spiraling into shame and say, oh, that's my inner child. What do they need right now? Relationships shift. Some people don't like the new boundaries you're setting. They were comfortable with the version of you that ignored your needs. Those relationships might fade, and that's painful, but it's also honest. Other relationships deepen. People who are also doing this work recognize you. Conversations get real. You stop performing and start connecting. New people show up, friends, partners, communities that feel safer, more reciprocal, more aligned with who you actually are. Internally, the harsh voice gets quieter, not gone, but less dominant. You start to have moments of self-compassion that feel genuine. You make mistakes, and instead of spiraling into self-hatred, you think, I'm human, I'm learning. You still have hard days. You still get triggered, but you have tools now. You have a relationship with the younger parts of you that's based on care, not shame. Return to that moment on the couch, scrolling your phone, feeling that unexplained sadness. Before, you might have judged it, pushed it away, distracted yourself. Now you can pause, you can ask, who's feeling this? You might sense a younger version of you, lonely, unseen, waiting. And instead of abandoning them, you can say, I'm here, I see you. You're not too much. Your feelings matter. That simple shift from rejection to acknowledgement is where healing begins. Listening to your inner child isn't about dwelling in the past or blaming your parents. It's about bringing the parts of you that were left behind into the present, so you can live as a whole person instead of a fragmented one. It's ongoing work. Some days you'll forget. Some days you'll revert to old patterns. That's okay. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be present, to live with more awareness, to choose responses instead of repeating reactions, to give yourself the care that child part has been waiting for. Thank you for being here and staying with this all the way through. If this resonated, consider subscribing for more videos on psychology, self-awareness, and inner healing. And I'd love to hear from you. Which part of your inner child work feels the hardest or most needed right now? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable.